All right, good night, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the FITMAW Show. I'm your host, Jason Craig, and we got a fun, packed night in store for you here tonight. Now, happy Sunday to everyone. Hope you had a great weekend and a productive day today. In the Caribbean, Sunday is normally a pretty busy day. We all was not out. We'll also try to be cognizant of that and keep this show brief tonight, but to the point, filled with information. As usual, I like to inform the company from before we jump into this topic, the ultimate body restoration secret, the ultimate body restoration secret. Now, in this tonight, a part of our pillars of health training. As you remember, last week we did water, and for the last few weeks we did water. And in this week, we're going to be switching gears and moving to the next pillar of health. You have your health as a structure. You have a structure has different pillars that connect to the foundation. If any one or two of those pillars are weak, the entire integrity of the structure will be compromised. So that's what we're trying to do here by repairing each and every one of the pillars, and eventually you will be able to have a optimal structure that is ready to support all of your goals. Weight loss is just part of the process, as we mentioned. Ultimate health. So let's jump over to the comments. Got Sylvia here from Trinidad. Welcome, Sylvia. Good to have you. I see we got a bunch of persons on Facebook, some on YouTube. It's great to have you all. If you are in our YouTube channel, subscribe button. That way you help us to grow so that we can reach more individual people and add those amazing content to you. So tonight's topic, the ultimate body restoration secret. And we're going to be jumping into it. As you know, we always start this show on time, 8 o'clock every Sunday night. So we're going to be jumping straight into this show. So before we actually do that, I want to know any comments below. I've got a quick question for everyone that's here. How much hours of sleep did you get last night? Let me just put the comments here. How much hours of sleep did you get last night? Now, if you want to go back, you can give me the average per week if you are so inclined. But I was interested in last night. What was your counted hours of sleep? Let me see it in the comments below. So go ahead and post it up in the comments. Good night. We've got Mr. Joe Tiga. Good to have you. So in the comments below, how many hours of sleep you got last night? And I think that will be a fitting start to what we got in here lined up on this tonight's show for you. So let me know in the comments below how much hours of sleep. You know, of course, the chats do take a little delay. So I know you're typing your answers on why you're doing that. I'm going to keep it moving until we actually get it coming up, right? So what I'm going to be discussing here tonight is something that affects a lot of ladies. Especially sleep is something that is affecting a lot of our clients. And I thought it was fitting for us to raise the topic here tonight. And you're going to be seeing, one, how important it is, and number two, how detrimental lack of it is. I will even go to so far as to say, if you find that your results, whatever you're aiming at, is not where you want it to be, go and check your sleep. So that's some answers coming. We got 6 hours, we got 10 hours, we got 7 hours. Awesome. This audience seems to be a sleeping audience, which is awesome. It's great everyone here is and do get sufficient sleep. Now, Sandra, 5 hours. Okay, no problem. We got it. Okay, so it's all coming in, it's all coming together. So with that being said, let me find out how much of you actually like traveling. Like, how much of you like going to new places? I know that with COVID, it has changed the entire dynamics of things. But most of us, I would assume, are like traveling, right? And I want to just give you a quick overview of what actually goes into your travels to make your travels a safe one. So, number one, you book your ticket. Let's say you go ahead and book your ticket. You're going from Trinidad to New York, right? You're from Trinidad to New York. You go ahead and book your ticket. You're set to go on the 3rd of August, 2021, or whatever the case is, right? So, in preparation for that flight, as these planes are back and forth, the night before, we were in the night before, when that plane lands back into its base, in this case, let's just use Trinidad. That entire night is spent by the engineering team, the mechanics, and other staff checking the plane for things that will happen throughout the day. So whether there was a burn in the engine, whether the engine needed washing from being seized last year, and I'll just give you an overview of what happens. Also, there's the oil change, time may need to change, the cabin being sanitized, and all of these stuff in terms of the catering to be replaced and new ones need to be added. And all this is in preparation for the next day of flight, right? So from that time to about your next flight, you have a mirage activities going on, ensuring that that plane is ready for service. So let's just put some numbers. Let's say that took about 8 to 10 hours to get that plane ready for the next flight. Now, what if you were told by an insider that they were short, so they actually had to cut some things? So instead of giving the full 10 hours to prepare for the flight, they only gave about 3 or 4. How would you feel the next day going on that flight? Let me hear it in the comments, people. I'll give you a minute to load the comments and we'll go from there. Shabaka, welcome. Good to have you. I'm just giving the comments sometimes, right? You know it normally takes a little while. So yeah, how would you feel going on a flight knowing that the team that normally takes 10 hours is 1 reduced, and as such, you have reduced the preparation hours from 10 to about 5. How do you feel getting on that plane the next day? Right, I see the comments coming in now. Right, everybody will feel unstable. Some would cancel their flights, some would rebook for a later date. Exactly. But let me ask you this. Your body goes through a similar preparation process for the following day. Every time you end the day, you go and lie down to sleep. Your body is doing a similar preparation like what was done in the aircraft preparation for the next flight. Cleaning, it's repairing, it's building, and it's recharging for the next day. And there's an allotted time that is needed for the body to do its work. Now, just like you mentioned, feeling uncomfortable getting on that plane because you know the required amount of hours for preparation are not met. Do you know that when you operate your body with the insufficient sleep, you are pretty much for similar situation? Now, in the FITMAW circle, we have something called the weight management triangle. It's a triangle that used to, one, assess your weight, also to readjust every time it's a plateau or you're not getting the results. And one of the things in that weight management triangle is sleep and rest. Right? Now, sleep and rest is so important that too little of it, or even too much of it, can have detrimental and in some cases life-threatening effects. So I just went and did some research prior to coming on this show, and I decided to pull up some studies. And one thing I found was that in 1 year, one of the studies did an analysis in 1 year, and they found that 42 million sleep prescriptions were filled out. 42 million sleeping prescriptions were filled out in that year. Now, just imagine that. You have 42 million persons going to the pharmacist, going to the doctor in an effort to seek a solution for sleep. Further study revealed that on top of that, we had cases where an estimated, and this study was in the US, an estimated 60 million Americans suffer from insomnia and other sleep disorders. An estimated 62 million Americans suffer from insomnia and other sleep disorders. So it would be apparent that insomnia, lack of sleep, is a massive problem, and it's a problem that affects the entire globe. Now, this study, of course, was done in the US, but I am pretty sure if we were to do a similar assessment here in the Caribbean, we would be getting close to these sort of markers. Maybe not 62 million, but in terms of the percentage of the population that suffers from insomnia. And it means then that insomnia, lack of sleep, is a major problem. And why is this problem being caused? And as we go through the show, we'll actually look into it. But the other question we should be asking ourselves, is this safe? And if we continue in a society where we are overworked and under-rested, what are the potential damages that we can expect in the long run? So, let me explain to you what happens when you don't sleep. What happens when you don't sleep? So, you have anyone you know who suffer with insomnia, you relate with them so that we can have them here to understand exactly what happens to the body when you start to skip sleep, right? And I'll start with number one. You increase your risk of type 2 diabetes. And I'll explain to you that shortly, right? So when you start to skip on sleep, you end up increasing your risk of type 2 diabetes. And everything body, all of the actions in your body are controlled by your hormones. Your hormones are like chemical methods. They rush your blood and tell, hey, I need you to do this, I need you to do that, I need you to turn it on, I need you to turn that up, right? So just they put through your body orchestrate what we see on a daily basis, whether that is high energy levels, low energy levels, or weight gain. Now, with that being said, when we skip, you are putting your body into a level of induced stress, right? So let's say your body needs hours of sleep per night. You only got 5. You, just like the scenario of the airplane, you have induced a stress into your body, crunching the hours requiring the same amount of work. That induced stress causes a hormone cortisol to be released. You don't need to worry about the names of these things. All you need to worry about is that when you do that, your body releases the stress hormone. That stress hormone tells your body, or a reaction of that stress hormone is that it dumps blood sugar, or it dumps sugar. And here's the reason for it, right? When your body is stressed, this is a normal mechanism. When your body is stressed, your body is prepared to do one of two things: fight or flight, right? So it's prepared to ward off an attack physically or escape an attack. In an effort to do that, your body needs energy. So once danger is signaled, once stress is signaled, your body dumps glucose into your blood. Think of it like giving your blood an extra boost, extra fuel to prepare for what is coming. And when that danger is ended, whether you fight off or you run away, that exertion of energy would have utilized that glucose. And that's a normal situation. But when we are stressed, in cases where we reduce our sleep, here what happens? The exact same thing happens, except there is no physical activity to utilize that raised blood sugar level. Now what happens? You continue this night after night, And eventually, what you'll find happening is that you have elevated blood sugar levels, and when blood sugar levels goes up, your body has to counteract it by dumping insulin, which will tell the body to get that blood sugar out of the blood and store it back into the cells. And when that energy is stored, it normally turns as fat. Now, this happens time and time again. Eventually, your cells are going to become desensitized. So just like a kid, I like to use practical examples, right? So if you have a kid, the first time you spank a kid, bang, probably all of the neighbors heard that. But you keep spanking the kid the same way, week after week, month after month. They get a couple years in. Eventually, they become immune to that because they have become sensitized to the lash, right? So it doesn't have the same effect. Now, take that example and let's turn it into the cells. When you constantly spike your blood sugar levels because you're dumping this excess blood sugar into your blood, your cells become desensitized. So the effect that blood sugar level once had on them, it no longer does. And when cells become desensitized to the insulin levels, which is a result of high blood sugar levels, we call this insulin resistance. And this is the stage just before diabetes. So you see how all this works? Let me just make a quick check over at the comments. And Esther, good to have you. That's Alyssa, Shadina, Jennifer, good to have you. All right, so you see how all this works? So by reducing your sleep, you actually inhibit your body's ability to process carbohydrates, which will put you at an increased risk for type 2 diabetes. Now, the other part of it is that you become sleep clumsy and sleep drunk. Now, I'm sure you can testify this. When you have had a terrible, the next day you are just like drunk, your efficiency goes down, and you find it is a burden to do things that would not come easy. And that is what happens when you lack sleep. Now, here's the worst part, right? They did a test, and people who went for up to 19 hours without sleep score significantly worse on a performance alertness test than people with a blood alcohol level of 0.08, which is legally drunk. So, when you are sleep deprived, your performance is like that of somebody who is legally drunk. Now, think about that. Think of the implications of that depending on the nature of your job. Let me give you a good example. I'm a pilot, right? And with this operation, fly single crew, which means it's just me in that plane. Well, God and me, right? But the only human in the plane operating is me. Imagine if I go to work in a sleep deprivation. My alertness goes down. Goes down. Three of the key things you need to operate an airplane safely, especially when things does not go as planned. How would you feel knowing that my performance level in that cockpit is equivalent to that of somebody who is legal? How would you feel coming onto that plane? I think that speaks for itself, right? Silence just speaks for itself. And that is exactly what happens when we are sleep deprived. And it would even go a next step further, where you can see a strong link between sleep deprivation and job security. Because now you have persons at critical operating positions, you case in point like my profession, where they are sleep clumsy. And in case of anything, the chances of something going wrong are a lot higher. Now, this translates to every facet. Think of it as nurses who have to give drugs, administer medication to patients. You want somebody with a performance level of a legally drunk person administering medication to your child in the hospital or your mom who is sick? Think about that, right? So as you begin to dive into it, you can realize how serious sleep deprivation really is. And in one study, it was found that the workplace productivity was reduced by $150 billion because of the same case of sleep deprivation, right? Now, again, as we just mentioned, not only, and this is one of those cases where the effects compound. Let's put two persons again. Let's use this scenario, right? A sleep deprived doctor is responsible for a lot of patients. A nurse, same thing. Not only are they affecting their lives by high blood sugar levels, putting themselves at a risk for type 2 diabetes, but they are also affecting the lives of others. They are jeopardizing the life and safety of others. And the thing goes a step further, because whatever profession you are in, you must get there by some level of transportation, right? And with that being said, most of us drive. So you are driving in a car in a sleep deprived state, which is sleepy drunk, and you are now putting the risk of those occupants in the car, your kids or your other family members, also of the other drivers around you, because you are not at your peak. And as I go along, you guys are beginning to realize how serious, how far reaching the implications of sleep deprivation are, right? And in this discourse, you know, this is part one. We've got so much more of this to do. I think we got two more shows to do on this, right? So that is what happens. And as we are on the topic now of hormones, you also reduce your libido, or for a more straightforward term, you reduce your sex drive. So when you are sleep deprived, you reduce your sex drive, which affects your spouse. So again, we have that relationship issue here, where you are not the only one being affected, but those around you. On top of that, you invite diseases. One of the best immunity boosters is a proper night's sleep. One of the best immunity boosters, and in a situation or in a world where all we hear every day is pandemic, coronavirus, our number one defense is our immunity system, right? And if that is compromised, then there's not much hope for you. So instead of worrying the latest technology in immunity boosting, focus on getting a proper night's sleep, and you will see how much better your immunity, your resistance to diseases are. And this is the last one. It kind of ties in with the one we spoke before. And when I actually found it out, I found it was pretty interesting. So when you are sleep deprived, you jeopardize your marriage. Yeah, I know. When I read it, I was like, hey, come on, man, you're not kidding me right now. So that's no joke. They actually did a study, and the study found that there were higher rates of divorce amongst people who got inadequate sleep. And when you think about it, it would make sense, because when you are sleep deprived, a lot of other things flow over. Like, for example, your temperament generally gets worse. You are a little bit more antsy. Everything gets you agitated, right? So you can see when a person is constantly sleep deprived could be a bit of a challenge to live with. And all of these things compound until they end up into the cases of divorce. So those are some of the dangers of sleep deprivation. Now, of course, the reverse would be opposite. When you sleep properly, then all of these things will be reversed. And let me just give you a few of them. Let's just talk about the opposites. Of course, you will boost immunity levels. You will boost your hormones and bring your hormones back into balance. You will reduce your risk of type 2 diabetes, just like we mentioned there earlier before. And this is an important one with those who are interested in weight loss. When you are sleep deprived, let me go from that angle, right? When you lack sleep, there are two hormones in your body. Well, there are multiple hormones. Let me just focus on these two: ghrelin and leptin. Now, ghrelin tells your body when you are hungry. So when ghrelin is high, you feel hunger pangs. When leptin is high, you feel satisfied. So there's always an answer between leptin. But when you lack sleep, this balance becomes a lot more. So there's a disparity between ghrelin and leptin. As a result, you find that your cravings are truly, but you're never satisfied. So your ghrelin is always high, your leptin is low, which is like the worst setup for weight loss because you're always going to feel hungry, and when you eat, because your leptin is low, you're never going to feel satisfied. So it's like your whole is dropping out, and as a result, your weight gain continues to skyrocket. When you start to sleep, you could probably attest to this. Those nights when you have like the really short rest or interrupted sleep, you just want to snack, and eat the next day, right? Or even worse, while you are depriving yourself of sleep, whether it's waking up for studies. And again, I do not underrate the reasons for you being sleep deprived. And so not as strong as not have to go online. So there is work that has been moved, and so I'm not negating the fact that life has changed. But there comes a time when you have to make a decision based on it. Because you could continue what you do. So there is always that balance where you have to make decisions best for your health. So there's no need to get the highest paying job when you're going to be spending most of that money trying to repair the health that you've destroyed in process of getting that job, right? That is just what happens there from a weight loss point of view. Now, process. That's the reason it's called sleep. Persons who actually get sufficient on a nightly basis, they tend to age more slowly. It has to get the hormonal release, growth hormones that is released, and a bunch of hormones along with this. So you can see that by getting sufficient sleep, not only would you feel rested, but you would actually set yourself up for a longer, healthier life. For those of you in weight loss looking to lose weight, by getting sufficient sleep, you will also find that weight loss becomes a lot more natural rather than be struggling so. And vice versa, if you find that your weight loss is hitting a plateau or it's just not working out, it could be that you need to check your sleep. So that's just something I want to do. Now, this is just part. We've got a few more parts. Like in our next episode, we're going to be looking at some of the things that causes insomnia and how we can fix them. And also, we're going to be working at how much sleep you should be getting per night and the different sleep, like deep sleep, REM sleep, etc. Looking at all of that stuff. Next few shows, I want you guys to be fully knowledgeable when it comes to the pillars of health, because you can have 4 of these pillars in place. Just one missing will bring the entire building down. Right? So when you show you how you can repair all of these pillars, and start out, maybe you are only getting one right, but eventually you'll have 2, 3, 4, and eventually have your full body to be. So it has been a pleasure here on my show tonight. Let me just make a quick check in my comments before we go. Right, good night everyone. Right. All right. So I hope you ladies learned much about sleep, and just like we did in that episode, I hope my goal is that you implement it into your life. You don't have to go and do everything all the time, but at least take one out. Even if you just try to get an extra hour of sleep, try that. If it means you have to say no to some engagements, if it means that putting your health as a priority, next I'll be showing you how you can sleep and ensure that every time you lie down to rest, you get a better quality of sleep. So Thank you all for being part of the FITMAW Show tonight. It was a pleasure hosting the show. And I will look forward to see you on next week's episode. Now, this episode is recorded on YouTube, so you can actually take this link after finish here and share it with your friends, those you know who are sleep deprived, who can use information, who can find it helpful. So just like you're getting benefit, they can also get benefit. This is our way of giving back to the world. These free trainings, we give back to everyone so that they can actually get their body and create that body that they're proud of. And that's what we hear on the FITMAW Show. Husbands and wives to create a body that they are proud of. I am your host. It's been a pleasure being here tonight, and I will see you all next week Sunday, same time, same place on the FITMAW Show.